And I guess this is the big one, this is the big change, is that we really want that independence, that independent learning and that sense of responsibility. So now we really are hoping that they will be responsible to get that pencil, to sharpen it themselves, to know what they should be doing in lessons, so that they're not just relying on an adult, they perhaps would go down in school. And that can be a little bit of change. Some children rise through it, and some children find that quite hard. But we take it through. We kind of the beginning of year 4 is obviously that early transition from year 3, but we're empowering them so that they're ready and they can get on with it. And that's why this time of year as a year 4 teacher is a joy, because they really are wonderful. They're really independent. We had, as you can see from all this lovely artwork, we have the creative and mindfulness week where we were doing more different activities across year groups. And this is where year 4 shine, because right now they are so responsible, so independent that they were helping the younger children. And actually, some of your year 3s were also doing that, which is really lovely to see. And self-esteem. Self-esteem can be a tricky one. And in year 4, with all these other challenges, we sometimes do see a little bit of a dip in self-esteem. So we're really big on the jigsaw and the PSHE and giving them that strong sense of self-esteem so that they feel confident in themselves. And reaching their full potential as we would do through the whole year. What makes year 4 different? And these are the things that perhaps you want to start being prepared for. I'm sure we all know about the blue jumpers. It's something that means, and they're really proud of them. So blue jumpers with blue cardigans, it sets them apart from the rest of the school. It means that the buddies, the reception buddies, can identify them really easily, and they love it. It also means you've got a better chance of finding them when they inevitably go missing, so just come back to our classroom. And please do still label them. I'm going to have this box of blue jumpers. I know there's someone in this room, but no one's in them. Their own pencil cases, so this is something I never knew it would be so exciting. It's such a big deal for our children. It gives them a chance to kind of express their own personality. So they have their own pencil cases. You can bring in your own equipment within reason. You've probably seen the trays. There's lots of real stationery lovers, and I'm all about that myself. I love stationery, but some of these pencil cases are kind of bursting. So just have to think about what will actually fit in the drawer. That said, we will always provide everything your child needs. So if you're not going on stationery, if you don't want to provide it, don't worry, everything they need will be in school. But again, it's something everybody from middle school, that is something they do there and they do enjoy it. Reception buddies. So reception buddies is something that our children absolutely love. This cohort, unfortunately because of COVID, really a bit late starting, and they were just desperate. It was really, really lovely. I was a bit concerned because they've gone kind of almost 2 terms without that they wouldn't be interested. Quite the opposite actually, and it brings out this really nurturing care inside in children that you might not think is there, and that's really surprised me. Those I thought, oh yeah, they'll love it. But actually some of the other children who seemingly are more into their football, say not interested in that care inside, have really embraced it. It's really lovely to see, and it's building that empathy, thinking about other people, and it's so, so important, and reception children love it as well. So that's a big difference. Playtime monitors. We haven't done that for a few years now. But we want to reintroduce it next year. So we're planning on kind of changing the playtime experience so there'll be a lot more equipment. You might have seen some things coming up. The plan for next year for your children is that all playtime monitors, they'll get a little red hat if they want it, and they kind of help coordinate playtimes with some of the younger children. They don't have to, so they can have a bit of a rota system if they want to. But again, it's kind of getting that sense of responsibility, getting that involvement, and it's really helpful for the young children. Hook Court. So this is our residential where we stay in Hook Court. It is fantastic. It was my first year this year. I'll be honest, I was nervous. It was so lovely. For us, and I think because bookings were kind of really booked out, we had a choice of 2 dates. One was, I think it'd be in March, it was going to be really cold. The week that we have is the penultimate week of term. So this time next year, well, I'll be exhausted because the penultimate week of term is when we can go to Hook Court for 2 nights, but the children absolutely love it. And the Roundhouse sleepover, so that will probably be one of the summer terms. I'm not sure if we'll do it summer term 1, where they sleep over in there. And again, it's those kind of sense of responsibility, those things that the other children don't get to do. The Shakespeare performance, which I'll speak about in a little while, and the times table check, which I'll talk about separately now as well. So the times table check, this was meant to be done last year. It didn't because of COVID. It was meant to be done this year. It wasn't because of COVID, although I did do a trial with some of my children. I didn't do it with all of them because I decided I didn't want the stress because we had this kind of COVID year, but I did do it with some of them, so I've administered it and seen how it works. I guess the big thing is that it's an on-screen check of 25 questions. It'll be in the summer term. I don't think the actual date's been released. There are 6 seconds to answer each question. Now that sounds really short, but I know, because I looked last night, your year 3s are amazing at your times table rock stars. I mean, one of my year 4s is number 1, and underneath it's a number of year 3s who are fantastic at tables. So it's that 6 seconds sounds like quite a lot, but your times table rock star children will just go with it. The check should take no longer than 5 minutes to complete, and I guess the big difference is that you leave it, whereas we kind of tap in the number and press return. With there, you leave it, pretty sure, or is it the other way around? But we will do lots and lots of practice so that the children are prepared. They don't get the result instantly, so they'll do it, and then the result then comes through to us later. I don't know yet whether we will share the result with the children or not. I haven't shared the result with my children that did it. To be honest, they've kind of done it. It was just a trial and they've forgotten about it. Because it's one of those things, if I'm honest, that maybe it's not for them. It doesn't really matter. They should take their pride in the times of a rock star. Tests and things like that, that's where they should kind of get their self-esteem. It's one of those things that we have to do, and possibly we might not share it with them anyway, but it is something that will be coming up for them. Any questions on that?
Do you tell the parent?
Sorry?
Do you tell the parents the results?
Well, because we haven't done one yet. Well, we just did a trial. I'm not sure if we're going to tell the parents the results.
Next year we will.
We will.
We will communicate with a formal notification.
Is there?
It just, I believe, just says it's pass or fail.
Yes, it's just a pass or a fail.
And the pass is 25 out of 25. There are no, it's 1 mark for fail.
Oh, okay.
That's the nature of the timetable, unfortunately.
Yeah. But, like
for sure, we don't decide that.
Your children are fantastic at their timetables. I know that they are. They've beaten year 4 in kind of the timetable rockstar challenges. They are on it. If there was 1 year to kind of do it live, your year is the year. So we're very excited about that. Shakespeare. So Shakespeare is something that we've been doing 3 years where we've been doing it on the Wayne Pavilion. This year was the first year because of COVID. We actually had to film it. So we filmed it as a movie, which is really lovely in some ways because we have that now, that kind of kept experience. What we're hoping to do is we're hoping to do it on the pavilion again, but in springtime. So we're looking at a date in February. The reason being is there is a Shakespeare festival, but it's normally in the autumn term. And what we found in the last few years is actually it makes it really difficult for us to get them settled in year 4. It's really pleasantly disruptive, but there's lots and lots of rehearsals, and we've decided that it makes more sense to get them really kind of trained up, ready in that year 4 mindset with all their responsibilities, and then do it. We are, though, still hoping, COVID aside, that we can do it in Weymouth and Pavilion. We'll be working with other schools, and once that's booked in, we'll let you know. But Shakespeare as a topic will be in the spring term, spring 1. Children absolutely love it, and it's incredible, those children that you don't think will have this side of them. And there's children that, again, you can predict would do really well. There's others that kind of really shine up, and you can see their confidence going. It's really, really lovely. This is like a sample timetable. It might be subject to change. In fact, I think it will change a little bit, but this is just to give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. So we're going to start our day. It's mainly literacy, it's kind of history / geography, because this is how we incorporate our geography. Being kind of seasoned parents, you know this already, we're kind of teaching Romans within our literacy, and that's how we'll do it. There will also be some one-off geography lessons, because of the nature of geography, we can't really incorporate math as easily with the writing, but that's that. The maths will take the second lesson, although you'll notice that we've replaced science with a morning lesson on Wednesdays and Fridays. This is the priority that we put with science in the school. We wanted to kind of bump it up to give it kind of that sense of importance and to give more time for it. The guided reading and spelling, it'll take a very similar way that we've been doing it currently in year 3. A little bit more of an emphasis on the guided reading, so some of those slots will still be spellings, but some of those slots will kind of be more about guided reading, getting them having that deep understanding of reading, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. We've got a bit of a change in that in the afternoon we're going to have French will be led. It will have kind of 2 support teachers in there. support adults. So Mr. Edmonds is actually fluent in French, so he's going to join the class. And Mrs. Drew, she currently comes into Year 4 and helps as well. So there will be 2 adults supporting French, and music will be taken by Mrs. Bishop, who is also kind of the Year 1 and Senko, so she's great at her music. Year 4, very lucky, they can have computing with Mrs. Sprackling. So what we're doing a slightly different model this year, not just in Year 4, but prioritising with Year 4, getting those real subject experts to work with your children. Again, similar to that middle school model where you have other adults who are real expert at that field. That's happening. We've got PE on a Wednesday and a Friday, art and DHC, PSHE, that's personal social health education, and we've got urbanisation there. That is subject to change, and in the bits of our school there'll always be kind of some special days as well, but that's a rough overview of what to expect our time. I'm just going to take a quick drink of my
Well, while Ms. Brown does that, we're currently in the process of reviewing swimming.
I was going to get those.
Yeah,
okay. Autumn term 1, we're doing World War II, and so I decided to change this round because I remember on Sunday it comes around and they haven't got that deep knowledge, and I really wanted them to have that deep knowledge, so I requested that we change it around, so that won't be happening the first time. I'm judging that a lot of children are quite interested and excited about this. I had to do it virtually this year, but I think that's been a good thing for me as a practitioner, because it means that I have to think of all these different kind of interactive and DT type activities that they can do. So of course it will still have the literacy, but I've seen lots of links to geography, art and DT, we're going to do some drama and dance as well as our music links. So this, I think, has always been very popular with the children. It's really tangible, because it's recent history, so that will be our first one. Autumn 2 will be festivals and celebrations, and that in essence is looking at those festivals and celebrations that happen in the autumn and pre-winter, including Christmas. Because actually there's quite a lot in lots of different cultures. So we'll be looking at bonfire, or we'll be looking at Bali, on my mind's been blank for the other ones, but we'll be covering those. And again, there's lots of kind of links as well. That one linked quite nicely to food, we found. So there's quite a lot of different foods that we were trying as well that can take. These are topics for the rest of the year. So as I said, Shakespeare will then be here. Food, Glorious Food is one that we started this year, which was really popular with the children. It will tie in with the Fair Trade Fortnight, so that's why it's in that term. It's looking at food that's going around the world, it's looking at geography, and it's one that, again, is really tangible, they can understand. Wonderful World, that one ties in, it's looking kind of ecologically, but instead of kind of giving it a negative title, I wanted to give it a positive title. So it is looking at kind of environmental problems and what the children can do to resolve them, but actually I've given it a really positive title. And it's got lots of links to our science. And then Romans. So your children were invited this year to our Romans Day, which they seem to love. So in Year 3, we're focusing on the soldiers, and then in Year 4, we're moving on to looking at all the other aspects and how the Romans influenced Britain. And again, we'll have that Romans Day where they prepare information and DT and share it with the children. So that will continue this year. Knowledge organisers by now, I think you're probably kind of old hat with knowledge organisers. I think they're coming out this week actually. Yeah, I think it's Friday. Our class charter and our praise and rewards, we will work with the children to do this. I'm going to have a little think about how I'm going to change it to make this kind of rewarding for the children as possible. It will be different to the one that you have in Year 3, but every year we do a little bit differently, just based on those children and what we do. Enjoying a book. So in Year 4, by Year 4, a lot of the children can read, which is really, really great. Sometimes we do see a little bit of a dip in the interest, and it can be that they found those series of books that they really, really love, and then they finish them, and sometimes once they stop reading that series of books, we can kind of notice that they lose a little bit of interest unless they find another one to follow. I think this is a role where you can kind of really come in, because it doesn't just, I did one of these, I did this last year, it's really annoying, sorry. It doesn't have to just be reading a library book, there are other ways that they can be reading. So if you've got younger siblings, get them to read with your younger siblings. Discussing books, so discussing the book with them if you're reading, and we often say that we are the biggest role model for our children. If you're reading a book, okay, sometimes the content might not be appropriate, but you can kind of talk about the themes of the book. If there's a film that you know is also a book, that's a really good opportunity to maybe borrow that book out of the library or talk about the book and talk about the themes. It is finding information on the internet, and I'm sure you already do this already with the home learning, making sure you talk about the different sources of information. We do this in year 4 anyway, because that is still reading, and reading and writing emails, something if you've got kind of family in other parts of the country. I mean, even messages, my children quite like writing messages, because that is still reading and writing, so it's still a really great way to do it. We will still have reading in our read write link session or our guided reading session, and like I said, it kind of, the emphasis goes up a little bit more in year 4. We still do the spelling, but now we're trying to get them to kind of make those deeper inferences and think about different motivations in the writer, in the author. It isn't just about reading the words, it's kind of trying to make deeper predictions, trying to think about some of the books that they might start reading with kind of greater depth. Understanding, so understanding the kind of message that book's trying to kind of instill on the reader, so we do a lot more about that. We hopefully will be able to start again this year where year 4s will read to younger children, so read to their buddies. Again, depending on the feature with bubbles and things, we have had it in the past where they go over to read to preschool, which again seems a real privilege, and it's still reading, and then they see the importance of using intonation. So sometimes whilst they're fluent, they might not be using their intonation. By reading to younger children, we can teach them how important that is and how important it is to use the speech marks and the purpose of the commas, because when you're reading to an audience, we can kind of model that actually you need to use those grammatical tools. There is reading, there's more reading in these subjects as well in year 4, so science and history and all those subjects. There is still individual reading time for those children who need it, so that is the programme that we have. Those children on an individual basis, if they need more one-to-one reading, we still absolutely will continue it. And we have volunteers who come in and read for the children as well. Read write sessions will continue. I think I won't spend too much time on that. You probably know already really well. Weekly home learning. So the weekly home learning, I think you've pretty the change one where it's got the buddies. Do you have those sheets where you have the buddy where it's sort of what's learning how you're focusing on? We'll continue with those. So the kind of emphasis is that it's reinforcing learning that they've already done. I am thinking, I haven't really this right, but I'm thinking, whilst it is still not compulsory, I think we need to be in year 4 in a little bit of a kind of transition area, because this year some of my children took that too literally, I felt. But it's not compulsory, and they kind of, well, I've got something wrong, so I'm not going to do it. But in middle school it is. So whilst there will be no repercussions for not doing it, my expectation of home learning will be high. And so I will have a display somewhere where, subtly, where we've kind of said, taking off that you've done home learning. No one will be shamed, no one will be in trouble, but I just, in the transition meetings I've had with DMS and St Osmond's, I need to be helping them find those routines in a safe place so that they start, instead of getting responsible, getting organised, and kind of going off and doing it themselves, just so it's not such a big shock. So they won't be in trouble, but I just really think we need to up that a little bit. And on the reading, I think I might start trialing there, so I give that a home learning book, where all the sheets is kind of stuck in. I'm thinking on the back I'm going to have like a reading log, because as your children kind of start being interested in other things, there's the journal, there's kids magazines and things like that they can be reading. They can't necessarily record it in AR, but it might be quite nice because they would be a test for it for them to kind of record that they are reading. That's something I'm thinking about. This is Brackens hearing it out for the first time. He might have different ideas. Watch this space. Oh yeah, I've just said everything I was going to say. Okay, so swimming. So some of you may have seen that there was a consultation on swimming. Again, we did one before COVID, and then COVID hit, and so we kind of left that, and we wanted to ask some of the other reception parents that are coming through. The big take homes we heard was that parents are really keen on swimming, and as are we. We live down here in Dorset with Bible Coast, so we do view it as very, very important. But this is where there's a lot of kind of then different opinions. And we're thinking at the moment that the best model will be that each term, and a different year group 2, 3, and 4 have a term where they go swimming. And this kind of has 2 real benefits. On the one hand, it means that we can identify those children early in year 2 that are going to need that more instruction. Because some parents already have their swimming lessons, and that's great. So when they're then going to year 3, we can hit the road running with them in year 4. So by the end of year 4, we have, and we don't need to in year 4, it's actually in year 6 that they need to be able to swim 45 metres, but we can start focusing on those children that need that extra instruction. The other side is, and I think we wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for COVID, it also means that each year group doesn't have the whole year of their curriculum disrupted. And I say that, I don't say that lightly, because that's not what we're about. We want to be able to take this swimming, we value it very, very much, but because of the last few years that we've had, and that is a consideration, it does take out the whole afternoon. So for those 2 reasons, and that balance that it gives, we're thinking that we'll have that model. But again, Mrs. Cratton's got lots of work there on kind of organising with that, but that's likely what we're going to have. So I don't know which year group will work best to have it. I think we'll let those. Do you have anything to add to that, Mr.
That's fine. We will communicate that before the start of the autumn term that we can move on what the plan is moving forward. We're currently still talking 16 10 about it.
And lastly, please come and talk to me if you have any questions or concerns. My email is on the website. I'm of the opinion that I would rather know early that you have a concern than leave it until it's a big concern. And it breaks my heart when parents say to me, this has been going on for a while, but I didn't like to bother you. It makes me so sad, because actually I could have nipped something in the bud, I could have given that extra support. Wouldn't be at the situation there. So please never feel like you're bothering me. You can email me at any time. I'm not somebody who has my emails onto my phone. So I look at my emails when I'm ready to. So please never feel like you'll be bothering me, because you won't. When I'm in work mode, I'm in work mode. When I'm not, it doesn't ping. So please always let me know. And I'm always very available at any time. So there's that. I'm out of breath. Because the heat. Has anyone got any questions or anything that you want to share? You go and enjoy this beautiful day. Does that cover everything you need to know? I think your big take home for now are pencil cases blue. Yeah. Does that stretch? I put your hand up, sorry.
I would just like to thank everyone for coming along. On the issue of uniform, we are aware of supply issues at the moment. And we will be issuing a letter on Wednesday with more information. So there's a lot of work happening behind the scenes at the moment on uniform. Not work that we were expecting to have to do, but work that's happening now. And we will have some information to you. So we are aware of some challenges with supply. So do sit tight on uniform. More positive news on its way.
So that's not going to affect what we've already bought?
No, we're not suddenly changing anything. It's just the embroidery one have notified us that they now got supply should be equal as well. So if you've already got some, then hold on to it tight, because it's going up in value all the time.
Right, okay.
But we have got lots of new ones actually, so maybe you can make plans for those plans.
We're speaking, to be transparent, we're speaking to another supplier to be operational from the end of this week. So there'll be other options for parents.
So majority of current preschoolers have ordered their uniform.
Yeah.
So is that supply that we've already ordered an issue?
In all truth, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to seek clarity on that. We've not had the best week with our supplier, so we're working with the amounts as well.
And is this, sorry to keep asking,
No,
is this the same issue with blue uniform as well?
No, it's not.
It's just
it's mainly that shade
green.
So we're working with another supplier to make sure that there's plenty of green available.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I'll see you in September.
Yes, thank you.